welcome to Little Learners. In today's video I'm going to be talking about things I wish I'd known before I became a teacher. So whether you are new to teaching or you've been teaching for a very long time, there is probably going to be something on this list that you can relate to. Before we get started, however, I'd like to tell you about today's video sponsor, Cache Alumni. Cache Alumni is an award-winning association in care, health and education, funded by the educational charity NCFE. Their aim is to support learners, educators, practitioners and employers throughout their careers. Unlike many professional bodies might, Cache Alumni doesn't regulate the sector. It's a collaborative association. Cache Alumni provides so many things that a professional body might, such as access to best practice information, independent advice, and a range of benefits and training. Primarily, they are a CPD and support community. If you're working in care, health, or education, Cache Alumni is open to you, and all of their resources are designed to be accessible to everyone. So whether you already have a qualification or you're looking at the different routes you could take to get a qualification, Cache Alumni will be there to help you with your next step. Now, something very exciting about this is that membership is free. All members receive access to podcasts, articles and videos from sector experts, as well as e-learning content, career information and guidance, and money-saving offers. So, to find out more and to sign up for a Cache Alumni membership, take a look in the description box down below. I have linked everything in there. Alternatively, you can visit them at cachealumni.org.uk. Thank you so much to Cache Alumni for sponsoring this segment of the video. So, let's talk about things I wish I'd known before I started teaching. Number 1, how ill I would get. Oh my goodness. Especially working in early years education, in reception for my NQT year, I got so ill. I think probably for at least a term, every single weekend, I had some kind of bug. I would have it during the week, but then obviously it would really hit me at the end of the week because I'd actually be able to stop and rest. It was hard, and trying to do your first year of teaching or even just your first term of teaching ever, feeling so awful and your body is kind of only working at 30% most of the time is really, really hard. So I would advise, if you haven't started working already as a teacher, to invest in all the different kinds of prevention methods you can, and just to be prepared really that this is going to happen. Eventually you kind of build up your immune system a bit and stop getting ill so much. Number 2, just how underfunded schools are. I really didn't know just how bad it was and how much it affects everything until I started teaching. You probably hear teachers joke about the fact that there's no glue sticks left by the end of a half term, and that might seem like a really minor thing, and in the grand scheme of things I suppose it is, but there is so much more than that can't really be joked about. So for example, the funding for students with special educational needs and disabilities is really dire. If we try to get that funding, it's just not there, or you have to jump through hoop after hoop after hoop for at least a year before you get the funding. So schools have to try and sort out this support from their own existing funding, which is already very low. So not only does this affect the resources and the teaching staff you can have, some schools can't afford to have teaching staff at a certain level or can't afford to have as many teaching assistants as they would like because of their funding. It really just impacts everything. And that's definitely something that I learnt as soon as I started teaching. Number 3, how political it can be. Now, I suppose political is a bit of a strange word to use, but I think it just about covers it. So being in a school, and obviously not every school is like this, but it can be incredibly cliquey or cliquey, depending on how you say that word. Certain year groups or certain teachers or certain level of teacher, so senior leadership team and teaching assistants and teachers from this year group and teachers from this year group might form their own little clicks. And as I said, this isn't in every school, but I think this probably is just something that happens in a lot of workplaces. You have to be so careful sometimes about whose toes you're going to step on. If you just want to change something small, or you need something from somewhere, or you want to teach something in one year group, but another year group doesn't want you to teach that because they're going to teach it, it gets political. Number 4, how emotionally invested I would become in the lives of the children I teach. Now, I am a very empathetic person, and I feel the feelings of other people quite strongly anyway. So I knew that I would, really come to love these children, which I did. But you really do go home thinking about them, and if there is a concern, a worry, if there is something exciting that's happening for them, you are constantly thinking about it. If you are worried about something that's happening at home, you cannot stop thinking about it just because you've gone home yourself. When children are having a very difficult time and there are different services involved, or you're concerned for their welfare, it is a struggle, because there is only so much that you as the teacher can do before it's moved on to someone higher up than you to deal with, and you're left feeling really powerless. And I think I didn't quite realise just how heavy that can weigh on you. Number 5, workload. Okay, I can hear you all shouting at the screen right now. Of course, you new teachers were going to have a really heavy workload. Everyone knows that. And yes, I did. I didn't know how heavy that workload would be. And I didn't know what kind of work that would involve. So rather than the amount of work, which I expected, I didn't realise how much of that workload was going to be not classroom related. So paperwork and entering data, that takes up so much of your time, and I think it's something that a lot of teachers get frustrated about. You get into teaching because you want to teach and you want to be in the classroom and you want to plan for your class. A lot of the work that teachers have to do behind the scenes is all to do with data and allowing the government to track how schools are doing and how students are doing year to year, and a lot of the work doesn't benefit the children, and I think that is the thing that really frustrates you so much, and that work is the work that usually takes the longest. Number 6, I am not an early morning teacher. I think there are 2 types of teachers in this world. 1, the teacher who arrives very early and prepares everything in the morning. 2, the teacher who stays late and prepares everything the night before. Now, I think there is no shame in either of these. However, it seems that the early morning teacher is kind of favoured or seen as better by a lot of schools, or certainly a lot of SLT. Actually, I think it's because they think that early morning teachers are also stay late teachers, which does happen. But it really just depends on what kind of person you are. I have never been a morning person anyway, and I don't like to leave things until the morning of. So I would much prefer to stay at work later, prepare everything for the next day, and go home knowing that in the morning I can just walk into my classroom and everything is ready. That makes me feel so much better. A lot of other people would much rather go home sooner and not stay at work late, which I totally appreciate. Come in the morning early because they are happy to be early risers and get things done when it is much quieter. You are much less likely to be interrupted or asked for a quick word in the morning. However, for me, being a stay late teacher works a lot better. It also obviously depends on how far away you live. If you have other commitments, I have a son now, and so maybe things will change in the future, but definitely I prefer that little bit of extra time in bed in the morning. Number 7, parents can be really, really mean. You hear this all the time, right? That parents can be annoying because they want their children to go up a reading level, or they're not happy with how you dealt with their child hitting another child, something like that. But actually, parents can be really, really mean. And I wish I had kind of been told this or been given some strategies to deal with this when it happened, rather than just having to go in blind. So my very first parents' evening, I was doing really well. I felt really good. Everything was running on time. I was having great conversations with parents. And then a parent came in who I knew already was a bit of an issue because they had been a little bit rude in the past. But I didn't see them that often. They didn't do the pick up and drop off that often. They came in and they were really, really horrible to me, and it was very, very difficult to keep my cool. Not in terms of anger, but I didn't want to cry. They really upset me, and it was a very kind of personal attack and shouty, refusing to leave the room. It was quite scary, and as soon as they left, I went into another room and kind of cried a little bit and just got all my nervous jitters out, and then went back and did my next parents' meeting. And since then, any time I encountered a difficult parent or a parent who was being rude or offensive, aggressive, I've been able to deal with it because of the experience that I've had and knowing kind of what to say because I've been thinking about it since then. But I really wish I didn't have to go through that in the first place, all on my own. I wish that I'd been given the tools to know what to do, to know what to say, so that I could have felt much more comfortable in that situation. So if you are dealing with a difficult parent and you don't feel like you know quite how to deal with it and you need support, do go and ask for that support. If you are new to teaching or you're about to start teaching, then feel free to message me. Maybe I'll make a video on what to say. I did make a few points about this in my video about parents' evenings, so I'll link that in the description box below. Might be a few tips in there for you. Number 8, parents can be so lovely. So you do get the horrible parents, and they are the minority. You get the nice parents who you talk to every now and again and they're pleasant and everything's fine. Then you get the parents who are so lovely. They really appreciate everything you do for their child. They do everything they can to have things in on time, and if they don't, they come and apologise, and they're just always so nice. They ask you about your day, and when you come to parents' evening, they just want to know if their child's happy, you know, and they're constantly thanking you for what you're doing. And it really made my day anytime I would see one of those parents, because they would just make me feel so much better. Number 9, perfectionism is not my friend. I am a perfectionist in recovery. I am trying my very best to tone down my perfectionistic traits because they do not help me in life. When I started teaching, they really, really didn't help me. Being a teacher is such a busy job, a difficult job, and you can't have everything looking perfect all the time. You have to choose where you want to put the most of your energy. So if you are doing a display board and something is just slightly wonky, does it matter? To me, when I started, I thought it did. I thought everything needed to look absolutely perfect. But that wasn't where my energy was needed. If I took all the energy that I was using to make that beautiful display board look absolutely perfect and put it into planning my lessons or spending more time with the children or planning my provision, something like that, that was where my energy was needed. And you don't have an endless supply of energy, so you really need to figure out where is best to put it, and anything you have left over you can use to make your display boards look pretty, or whatever else in your version of this scenario, wherever else your energy might go. Number 10, you have to be really flexible. I like everything to be in boxes. I don't like too many surprises or too much spontaneity, although that has improved over the years, especially spending time with young children. Spontaneity is really important. But in terms of my work, I really like things to be in boxes. I can understand where everything is planned, and I know what's going to happen. But that doesn't work, especially in primary school. So you do have to be really flexible, and you have to understand that sometimes your plan will just be thrown out and you have to do something different. And I think as you get more experience, you get a lot more used to that and thinking on your feet a lot more. But it's kind of the psychological effect of not having control over absolutely every aspect of your day and working out how you can embrace that. And finally, number 11, how much I would love it. I've talked on this channel before about how when I first decided to teach, I thought I was going to be a secondary English teacher. And then I started tutoring while I was studying at university and realised that I absolutely loved teaching primary age children. So I went to do that, which was kind of a risk for me, really. Then during my practice, I was really enjoying it and thought junior school is where I want to be. Then I went down to an infant school and thought, okay, year two is where I would like to be. And then I was put in reception. I was terrified. I've talked about this on this channel before. I was so scared. I thought I would hate it. I thought, there's going to be all these tiny children with all their tiny germs. And yes, I did catch almost every single one of them, I'm sure. But I love it. I just think it's the best job in the world, honestly. To see these children come in who have never been to school before and see how quickly they take ownership of this classroom and bond as friends and as a class, how much they learn, how much I learn from them, how much they change throughout the year, and how proud they are of what they've done and what they've achieved. To see children come in and not be able to read a single word and leave reading books, that is incredible. What an absolute privilege to be a part of that. Yes, there are days that are so hard. And yes, at times I thought, I hate this, but I love it. And I wish I'd known beforehand that I would love it so much, because maybe I wouldn't have spent that entire summer before I started teaching worrying about how much I wasn't going to like it. So those are my 10 plus 1 things that I wish I'd known before I started teaching. Did you find any of those relatable? Do you have anything that you would add to this list? Please let me know in the comments down below. I would love to see what you wish you had known. Maybe it's different for primary and secondary teachers, so do let me know down below. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, don't forget to click that subscribe button and turn on post notifications so that you see every time I post a new video. Also, if you want to help out the channel, you can click that like button. It really does help a lot. If you want to see more Little Learners content, book a consultation with me, or download my resources, you can go to my website, littlelearners.education. Thank you again to the sponsor of today's video, Cache Alumni. Don't forget to check them out. I'll link them in the description box down below. And thank you to you for watching. I'll see you next time.